Well, most people do recognize the name Sir Isaac Newton. He's the one that's famous for saying, what goes up, come down, sitting under the apple tree and all that. Well, he was known as one of the four great geniuses of science of the past 2,000 years. Sir Isaac Newton was also a very avid believer in God. At the top of his pages of his notes, he would write, to the praise and glory of God, to the praise and glory of God, to the praise and glory of God. He's often also credited with saying, or at least with quoting another scientist whom he appreciated by saying, that all of science is thinking God's thoughts after him. You know, it isn't our job as scientists and science teachers to determine the truth. Our job is to discover the truth, not to decide. I had students at Traders Point School yesterday ask me about the planet Pluto, and you know, I mean, it's not a planet anymore, right? How many of you heard that they changed it to? Yeah, they changed it down. And I told them, well, you know what? Pluto doesn't care whether we call it a planet or not. It really doesn't matter. We seem to think that if we get together and vote on something, it becomes so. That's not right. You see, we're supposed to discover what the truth is. And I used to tell my high school classes, when I was teaching high school science, science is really God Appreciation 101. That's what it is. Well, anyway, Isaac Newton, in his book, he says this about the solar system and all of the things out there. This most beautiful system of the sun, planets, and comets could only proceed from the counsel and dominion of an intelligent being. And, of course, we hear about intelligent design theory all the time these days, and that's the same sort of thinking. This is Wernher von Braun. How many ever heard of Wernher von Braun? Yes, the head of NASA. He was a Nazi scientist during World War II, but when America and Russia conquered the Nazi Germany, we split up their rocket scientists. We got Wernher von Braun, who actually is a believer in God. Look at what he said in a letter to the California State Board of Education in 1972. One cannot be exposed to the law and order of the universe without concluding that there must be design and purpose behind it all. The better we understand the intricacies of the universe and all it harbors, the more reason we have found to marvel at the inherent design upon which it is based. While the admission of a design for the universe ultimately raises the question of a designer, a subject outside of science, the scientific method does not allow us to exclude data which lead to the conclusion that the universe, life, and man are based on design. To be forced to believe only one conclusion, that everything in the universe happened by chance, would violate the very objectivity of science itself. Dr. Wernher von Braun. Well, Christians are often, Bible believers are often cajoled, corralled, and intimidated into thinking, well, we're the non-intellectuals, we're the dummies, we're the not smart people because we believe in the Bible, you see. Well, what if the Bible's actually right? You know, archaeology, history, geology, science, all the things, nothing, no fact that's been uncovered by the enterprise of science has ever contradicted with the Bible. Only certain people's theories and interpretations and inferences and guesses and estimates and opinions, those have contradicted the Bible, but that's nothing new. It's been that way for millennia. So we're talking facts. As a scientist, I deal in facts, logic, data, evidence, you know, hard science, not soft science. Evolution is soft science. Big Bang Theory is soft science. How many like Calvin and Hobbes? Here we go. You have these little Calvin and Hobbes here. We have some of the high schoolers in here, I see. So Calvin and Hobbes and the T-shirt and the sneakers are for you. All right. The problem with people is they don't look at the big picture. Eventually, we're each going to die. Our species will go extinct. The sun will explode, and the universe will collapse. Existence is not only temporary, it's pointless. We're all doomed, and worse, nothing matters. I see why people don't like to look at the big picture. Well, it puts a bad day in perspective. You know, this was the old big, you know, there's the theory of the universe, the evolution have the Big Bang, but only until the past 2 or 3 years when we recalibrated the Hubble constant and found out all kinds of other interesting things about the universe, there was something called the Big Crunch. That yes, the universe started with a big bang, bang, and expanded, and then but gravity was going to drag everything back together, crunch, and then it was going to be a bang again, bang, crunch, bang, crunch, bang, crunch, and that was how endless infinity was going to go. That was called the oscillating universe theory. Well, now we found out that there's not enough gravity in the whole universe among all the galaxies to keep them together and draw them back to the center. So as a matter of fact, not only are they expanding, but they're expanding faster and faster all the time. So your atheistic evolutionary Big Bang theorist scientists decided there must be some force doing this, a mysterious force, and they called it dark energy. They don't know what it is, but they called it dark energy. The new head of physics department at Yale says that dark energy is code for we don't have a clue. What she said in that article we were reading in Parade magazine, Nick and Roseanne, we were up in New Jersey together recently. Yes, so they don't really have a clue, but you know what the Bible says? He that stretches the heavens as a curtain, he stretches the heavens as a tent upon its pole in which to dwell in. You know, the Bible seems to indicate that God created the universe by stretching it. I know what that dark energy is. And it's stretching the universe apart still, faster and faster, at an ever-increasing speed. The dark energy is largely related to the concept that Einstein originally started was the cosmological constant, which Einstein himself said was the greatest blunder of my career. But they still depend on it, even though Einstein said I was wrong about that one. Well, okay. How many people have ever seen this in Parade magazine? Marilyn Beaucevant? Ask Marilyn. She's in the Guinness Book of World Records for having the highest IQ of 228 in the world. She's also the most famous Mensan in the world. I'm also a member of MENSA, the High IQ Society. But she's more famous than me. But somebody asked her about the Big Bang, and let me go ahead and zoom in on this for you here. I texted this for you. Marilyn Beaucevant on the Big Bang. She describes it and then says, that just sounds just plain nuts, right? But do you believe it? If so, how do you support your belief that the entire universe was once smaller than a polka dot? With a strong line of reasoning? Solid evidence? Anything at all? If you cannot, welcome to the world of faith. You're accepting what you've been told by those you respect. Lots of science, far too much, is accepted on faith alone. We must be careful not to teach theories as facts. It slows scientific progress immeasurably. Now, I don't want to misrepresent Marilyn Beaucevant. She is not a creationist. But she also thinks that we should take these things with a bit of a grain of salt when there's no proof and everyone talks like it's real. Well, we've got the universe. We have to explain it. It's here. We're here. Life exists. And it doesn't have to be by evolution. I have had the vice president of the Darwin Coalition in Knoxville, Tennessee, said to me one time, well, I don't see how anyone could believe what you believe. And so I started telling him what I believe. And he evidently didn't really mean the question because he got very impatient with me. And then I said to him, well, okay, well, what evidence do you have that evolution's true? And he said, well, you and I are standing here having this conversation right now. How else could that be? Unless evolution was true. And, well, of course, it could have been that, Lucky the leprechaun, they're magically delicious. He could have made us, and that would still be true. So no matter how you believe the universe and life got started, it did get started somehow.